Let's bring in our panel, Nicole Parker and Darren Porcher, to react to what you just heard. Darren, your takeaway.
I didn't think that I got a lot of information that was really substantive to this, and it just goes back to, from a law enforcement perspective, what you want to do is you want to harvest your assets. When I say harvest your assets, meaning local law enforcement has individuals in the community that can provide information. When we look from the hours from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., you have a very different dynamic of population that's on the street. A lot more stands out to these individuals that would be on the street during those hours between 1 and 5 a.m. And oftentimes, these people can provide you that substantive information. Local police have a lot of assets in these communities that they can engage. And when I go back into my time working the streets, one of the things that I would do is I would always go back to the scene of the crime on the same time and date, or on the same time and day of the week where it happened. So that would be, of course, a Saturday going into Sunday. We don't have that luxury because we want to try to capture as much information as quickly as possible. But law enforcement, I'm sure, is working the streets between that hour of 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. to find out who was possibly out there.
Let me ask you, Nicole, to cut back where we were just before we went to the briefing, and that was this picture of Cellebrite case being brought into the home. What is that? What does it do? What information can we glean from that?
Right. So first of all, in reference to the press conference, I actually thought there was a lot of information in that press conference. And I think the most important thing that I heard is that no one has been eliminated. And there were specific questions about certain family members, and the response was, no one has been eliminated, the family has been highly cooperative, and we would like to continue to have that cooperation. And so, social media can be very harsh, and we don't want that. We want cooperation. What may appear as a suspect may be a victim. That is very, very powerful and important to look at. But going back to the Cellebrite, it's very important to remember that yesterday there was a lot of flurry and activity at both Nancy Guthrie's home and Annie Guthrie's home. Again, Annie Guthrie is the daughter that lives there in Arizona, and the Cellebrite is an Israeli technology that's used for digital forensics. And that is important because there were devices that would have been extracted, shall we say, and there's different levels of extraction. 95% of the devices that are extracted with a Cellebrite device is typically a mobile phone or some sort of tablet or that sort of device.
Nicole, before we move on here, when I went back to look at the pictures, that lead FBI agent who was speaking at the news conference appears to be the same person who was photographed leaving the sister's home with that case. Does that tell you anything?
I wasn't able to get a good close look at the picture. If that was the case, that would tell you something. But again, going back to the Cellebrite, there are different levels of extraction. And so when it's someone going out there, there's different ways to do these extractions from devices. There's the physical extraction, which is the highest level. You're going to get all of the data from the device. You're going to get anything that was deleted, any carve-outs, things of that sort. The next level under that is the file system extraction. And then underneath is the logical extraction. And logical extraction is what the user actually sees. The file system extraction is going to be things that were deleted. So depending what level of extraction that was, the indication to me is that there was someone from law enforcement at Annie Guthrie's home that walked out with that Cellebrite case that indicates that they were imaging devices inside that home. I did not see them leave with any sort of device to take back to the lab, let's say, the CART lab we would call it at the FBI, but we did see that they walked out. That means that they were likely imaging devices that would not, or extracting devices. That's not uncommon. Okay. These are family members, people that were communicating with her. That would be very common to see. That's normal.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.